a special video for you guys today. We're gonna pay a tribute to Kobe Bryant as today is the 1 year anniversary of his death. Just exactly a year ago, him and 8 other people were killed in a helicopter crash in Calabasas, California. They were all heading to a youth basketball game for his program. And the other 8 people were including Kobe's daughter, Gianna Bryant, John Autabelli, who was an Orange Coast College baseball coach, and his wife, Carrie and Alyssa, Sarah Chester and her daughter, Peyton, Harvard Day School assistant coach, Christina Mauser, and pilot Ara Sobion. I think I said that right. They were all killed in the crash. There were no survivors. But before I say anything, I just want to give a moment of silence. Thank you. So how this is gonna work is me and Mario are gonna tell you our favorite thing about Kobe Bryant. And before I start, Mario, I'm gonna start with this one first before I give it to you. Before I say what I love most about Kobe, I just wanna send my condolences to Vanessa and her beautiful children. It must suck having three other children. One of them just turned 18. I think it was Natalia, and the other 2 are still infants, and it just sucks that they're not gonna grow up with their father, who was an absolute great in the NBA world. His daughter would have been absolutely amazing in the WNBA. That would have been great to see. So anyway, with that said, I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to tell you the one thing I love the most about Kobe Bryant. It was his mentality. It was easily his mentality that really struck me. For him as an athlete and for myself as a person, he always strived to be greater than what he was. He always won one championship. He was like, all right, good, next one. Oh, I win that one. All right, good, next one. He never stopped, even though, and that's something a lot of athletes do. They win that one championship, and it's like, boom, I won that championship. He never was satisfied with that. He always won that championship and was like, no, next one. I won one, let's go win another one. I win 2, let's go win another one. And that's why he's a 5-time champion. Same thing with being an all-star. He was an all-star basically every year that he played. He was like, I was good 1 year, all right, good, do that next year. I was good 2 years, all right, let's keep doing that. I love this mentality. And I remember there was an interview about him in one of the NBA finals. I can't remember which one it was. It was either the 09 or 2010, something like that. But they asked him, he was like, how do you feel about games? He was like, you're not happy. He was like, why am I supposed to be happy? Job's not done yet. That's something that I love to see. Is like, even though you won a game in the finals, it's like, it's not done yet. There's still a job to be done. And I ain't gonna be happy nor celebrate until I complete that mission. And that's the mentality I love to see. And overall, he was just a very great person, both on and off the field. He was just a legend. I don't know what else to say, But that's just the one thing I really love about Kobe Bryant. His mentality is really striking, and something that we're all going to remember about him for the many years to come. And a lot of the things that we're going to tell our kids, that's definitely going to be one of them. So with that said, Mario, I'm going to give it to you now.
Yeah, I mean, again, well, before I say anything, I just want to say, condolences to all the families and friends who had anybody who lost in that helicopter crash. Obviously, when I first heard about it, and how everybody first heard about it, nobody could believe it. This was Kobe Bryant. Like, we just couldn't believe it happened. And when we found out it did, and valuable news sources ended up coming out, then we really started hearing the truth. So honestly, just even talking about it, I kind of get chills and everything like that. But to anybody who had family or friends involved in that helicopter crash, I just want to say condolences to you guys, and may everybody who died in that helicopter crash rest in peace. I absolutely agree with you. The one thing that my favorite thing about Kobe Bryant again was his mentality. But here's the other thing I love about him. It's kind of connected to his mentality. For the course of 20 seasons, his daily routine. That's what I just cannot believe. His daily routine was insane. So basically, it got to the point where he was so busy in his daily routine, whether it was getting better at basketball or training, working out, whatever it is, that he only had 4 hours of sleep a day. So that right there, it's insane. According to Brian himself, he could operate a peak capacity on a little as 3 to 4 hours of sleep per night. And I mean, you hear about the stories about him waking up at 3 a.m. and working out and training and everything like that. And then he's in the arena before everybody else. And he's taking 2,000 shots, and he takes another 2,000 shots from somewhere else. His work, not even just his mentality, but his work ethic was something I don't think I've ever seen before. And the other thing was he was a brave guy. You know what I'm saying? He told you what he thought to your face, and he didn't care. We heard about the arguments and disputes that him and Shaq had. We heard about how they almost fought. He didn't care. You know what I'm saying? He had a certain standard, and he wanted everybody to live up to it. And honestly, that's what the greats do. They have a certain standard, and they want you to live up to it. Now, Kobe Bryant, you never heard him really make any excuses. Okay, he's very similar to Jordan. You never heard him really make any excuses. He just went with the flow, and the way he probably thought was there was always something I could do. You know what I'm saying? There's always something I can do better, and I take that mentality to the heart. I never try to make excuses. Like I've done in the past, and I'm trying not to do it. And so I always say, if you can control something, then it's not an excuse. You have no excuse to make. If you can control it, there's no excuse. So with that being said, I think his work ethic is probably the biggest thing. His mentality and his work ethic, they go hand in hand. That's why he was so successful. That's why he has 5 championship rings. That's why he has an MVP. That's why he made so many All-Star games. That's why he is probably the greatest Laker to ever live. So now let me ask you this, Nate. Since we talked about what our favorite thing about him was, what is your favorite moment from Kobe Bryant? Because this is not supposed to be us. Like, this is not us, this is not supposed to be a sad moment. It's supposed to be a moment of remembrance where we remember the good things about him. So
Right.
let me ask you, what was your favorite moment from Kobe Bryant's career?
Oh man, there was so many of them. So many great moments from Kobe Bryant. I think my favorite moment from Kobe Bryant was his final game. Just dropped 60. Like it was almost like he wasn't gonna retire at all. But that was his final game, and it's just surreal. It's not every day you see basketball players in their final game drop 60. And even at that, it's rare for a player to drop 60 in one game anyway. And the fact that he did it on his last game, I think that was one of my favorite moments from Bryant.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely one of his best moments in his career. Obviously, people can go to the 81-point game. People can go to when he won his first championship. They can go to all that stuff. They can go to 2004 when the game where he officially became the Black Mamba. We can go to that. I'll say this though. I think my favorite moment, and obviously I remember the final game because we were old enough to remember it. But here's the thing: as a young kid, the one moment I think I remember, and this is the moment that kind of made me watch basketball. I'm not a Lakers fan, I'm a Bulls fan, but this is the one moment that got me back into basketball. It was 2010, Game 7, Lakers and Celtics. And this was a big one because 2008 he ends up losing to the Boston Celtics. Then 2009 he ends up winning against the Magic, but again, probably in his mind the fifth ring was probably the most important to him because you remember you lost to that team. You know what I'm saying? And that's the loss you want to get back. He won an NBA championship. That's true, and congratulations. But I guarantee you, in his mind, knowing the way his mentality was, he wanted that win against the Celtics. And so he didn't have the best game. I think he put up 23 points and he was like under 40% from the field goal, but from field goal. But let me tell you something. For him to win his 5th ring against the Boston Celtics, who have been the Lakers' rivals for many, many years, and for him to do it without Shaq, for him to beat that team that beat him 2 years ago, I think to me that's the biggest. I think to me that should be my favorite moment from Kobe Bryant right there, is because that is the game where I was like, you know what, basketball is a great sport and I should watch this more. And Kobe Bryant was the reason for that. And I wanted the Lakers to win. We're from New England, but I wanted the Lakers to win due to the fact that Kobe Bryant is just an influential figure in a lot of people's lives. Obviously, he's touched so many lives. Obviously, he's had such a big impact on a lot of basketball players, and not just even basketball players, on a lot of people. And then he retires, and he ends up winning an Oscar. He ends up making books for people to motivate them. And the books weren't even about basketball. They were about tennis. And I'll never forget what he said. And this is always going to stick to me. This is why I have so much respect for tennis players. In tennis, if you're coached during the game, that's cheating. You cannot be coached during the game. So in tennis, it's you versus that person until the game ends. It's you alone. That's it. Boxing can be that way too. But here's the thing: you have a round. At the end of the round, you get to talk to your trainers and you get to talk to your you know what I'm saying? You get to talk to these people. You can't do that in tennis. You prepare for it, and then whoever you face, that is the person that you're facing, and you cannot talk to anybody. It's you versus them. It's 1v1. And that's what he said. He said that's why I love tennis so much. Is because you really have to be mentally strong to play tennis because you can't get no help. You need to figure out what you're doing wrong on the fly, on the moment. You know what I'm saying? So honestly, the stuff he was doing outside the court was amazing. I think he brought a lot of awareness to how competitive tennis is. I think he showed that look, even though you're a successful athlete, you can definitely be as successful outside of the athlete part when you retire. And it looked like his non-athletic career was about to be as great as his athletic career. You know what I'm saying? He won an Oscar. He again the books that he was making, the programs that he was making. He was a Kobe Bryant has been an influential figure for so long, and honestly, he will be missed. But I think the best thing for us to do is remember all the good things about Kobe Bryant, and that's what we try to do right here.
Absolutely. So, with that said, all these stories that we tell about Kobe Bryant, I hope those stories get told for generations to come. But I just want to end by saying, condolences to all the families that were affected by the deaths in this helicopter crash. And Kobe Bryant, man, we love you, dog. We're gonna miss you.